What's up, Fit Fam? This is Giovanni of Geoslogic, your host of Fitness Junkies, and I hope this show meets you in good health and spirits, and if not, I hope it inspires you to do something about it. Today, I'm really excited with my guest, and I'm really excited because she's not only a fitness influencer, I think she's a person of interest, of inspiration for people that want to change their life through fitness. And my guest today is Katie. And how are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you for that lovely intro. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're. I think the reason in my quick deep dive in your world, to say that you're inspirational is because the word fitness influencer, the two words fitness influencers, has been kind of diluted over the last 5 years, I guess, with just women and men that have good bodies, no matter how they got them, just kind of cashing in on that and not necessarily really caring about what they're doing and the people that are following them. I feel like you're a little bit different. What do you say to that?
Well, 5 years ago, I don't think influencer was really a word that was used as frequently as it is today. Yeah. I would say more back in the day, I was a fitness trainer or a competitor in the fitness industry, and I helped people. And now with social media, it's the social media influencing, which, yeah, you're influencing with your social media, by your posts, by your examples. And with social media, I love it, but there's a good and a bad side to everything. Yes. And yes, you do have the people that are capitalizing on selling out and trying to make that money, which you can't really hate on it. No. Everyone wants to get paid, but they're not taking in consideration what's at best for their audience. Yeah. And I think there is a happy medium to that, right? Sticking to your core values and making sure that you have everyone's best interests, making sure that you're giving out the right information. And I think it's our job as an influencer to make sure that we're doing those things. I mean, we should be set at the same level of integrity and ethics as a business. And, there's trainers out there. I had a discussion the other day, like, his clients are going to get hurt. Can you report him to the Better Business Bureau? Probably not. Right. But, he needs to perform at the same level of integrity as a company would.
Right. But the social media is a wild, wild west right now, so you can really do whatever you want.
Yes.
And genetically, whether you're just gifted and have a six-pack and that's your selling point, or you work hard at it like I do, I think you do. But before we get into that, how did you get here? I know you've been an athlete all your life. Tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are now.
Well, growing up, my dad was an advocate of always being a part of a sport or having something to focus on. He thought that would keep me out of trouble. So I was always involved in sports, whether I liked it or not. He made me finish the season or finish whatever I started. And I fell in love with hockey. And so I started playing hockey at about 14 and lived and breathed it for many, many years. And then once I quit, he was like, hey, what else are you going to do? And he was very into fitness and suggested that maybe I try this local show. It was a tiny show then, and it was before six-packs were cool. So I remember girls being like, what are you dieting for? I'm confused. Right. Why do you want a six-pack? Boys have six-packs. And it was, it was a thing. It wasn't like a cool thing to be in shape and have six-packs like that. And so I was 19 when I did my first show, and I hated it. But it was good. I learned a lot. And then I actually...
What did you hate about it?
The trainer that I had at the time was very, very strict. I don't think the show prep was really on point.
Got it.
So the training and the nutrition was just outrageously hard.
Starve.
Yes. Yeah. It was, and the more I learned, the more I realized that things are done differently. Right. And then I think it was a year later, the IFBB introduced the bikini division. And I was like, you know what, this might be more my speed, not the figure. I don't have the muscle mass for the figure. I'm going to try the bikini. And so I did it one more time, and that's when I actually found that passion. is by doing it again in a different division. Yeah.
And then what happened after that? You stopped bikini bodybuilding.
Well, as I was getting into the bikini division, I actually got a job with bodybuilding.com, which used to be really big back in the day.
Yes.
And I was a marketing intern, and I was going to college. And then after my internship was over, they offered me a job. And at the time, there were no social media influencers. There weren't really that many models. And so they used a lot of their employees for the expos. And so I started going with them to expos. And then I was lucky enough to get featured in a couple magazines, and then kept competing, got my IFBB Pro card, and then also became a trainer and kind of transitioned out of the corporate world into more the trainer as social media is growing. Right. And it kind of came together full circle that way. And then I decided competing wasn't for me, and just decided to focus more on educating people, focusing on quality content, and helping people reach their goals and be happy with themselves.
Yeah, you recently posted, I think it was a couple days ago, about your competition. You did a flashback to when you were on stage, and what did you ask? You said, should I do it again, or?
I said that I probably won't do it, but I'm never going to say never.
Right.
The only reason is because there was a pro show in Korea back in the day, I want to say like 5 years ago, and I wanted to go represent my Asian side, and I would love to compete in Asia. So that would be the one exception to competing, is if I get on stage, it'll be at one of those shows, just because I think it would be really cool.
It's so I'm a trainer as well, and I gravitate, or women tend to gravitate to train with me because I'm not threatening, but I've taken a few women towards it. I've never gotten anyone on stage, but it's so hard, and I always tell my clients is that if you want to do one, great, but you got to keep your mind right, because standing on stage and next to nothing and being objectified by what might not even be you at all and then coming out of that healthy is a big deal.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you pointed that out, because that was also something that was very hard for me to deal with. My very first pro show I did in Toronto, and I got on stage, and I think there's 5 judges, and when I got on stage, only 2 actually looked at me. And you're up there. And let me tell you, it is not easy to get to that point. The training, the diet, you're emotional, you're hungry. Okay. You missed out on a whole, 8 weeks of fun. Right. And you get up there and they're not even looking at you, because it's very political, but it sucks. And I literally held back tears standing on stage, because here I am working so hard and they're not even giving me the time of day. And that was very hard for me. Yeah. And so I think I did 2 pro shows. The second show I did in Finland, just because I had a sponsor at the time, and they're like, well, pay for it. So I went to Finland. And I was the first brunette out of the group, but the top 4 were blonde. So it is, Finland. Yeah, it is very, it's not always you. It's the judges. Yeah. They may prefer blondes. That's not their fault. That's not my fault. Yep. That's just what they like. Yep. And it's hard, especially coming back from being a competitor in hockey and a team sport, where you can work really hard and win a game. You can make a difference on and off the ice. I can't go and change someone's opinion on what they like, if they like fuller legs or a wider back or a brunette or a blonde. Like, I have to take what they think, and I can't change their mind about that.
Yep. I was talking to an ultra runner who said, and I didn't know this about ultra running, there was a post-competition depression that happens, and I'm aware of that in the female bodybuilding world specifically. Did you get any of that, like when you didn't place where you thought you were gonna, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think, like I said, when I was on stage and I didn't really get the opportunity or I felt like a fair opportunity in the competition, that was hard. As in a post-depression, probably not, because I was happy that I could eat again. But I think that you get kind of a body dysmorphia, a very strong body dysmorphia, because you're not supposed to look like that. And I don't think people understand that. You don't look like that. It's not healthy to look like that all year round. And all these photo shoots and covers, and they're doing a lot of those shoots. They're booked 3 days after their show. And that's why they're in such phenomenal shape. The whole rest of the year, they're putting on muscle mass. Their body fat is way higher than it was when they were on stage. They don't look like that year round. And that's something that is very hard, especially as a woman, I think, to go and have that either bulking phase or off-season phase. So when you're done competing and you don't look like that, you just always compare yourself to that. And it's a very, very, very common thing in that industry.
Yeah. And I really like that some women like you that are in that space, like, you're proud of where your body is, you're healthy, and you show it. It's like you especially for young people that are looking at you and going, I can do that. I can get into her shape. Envying your shape, maybe it's not your competitive stage, but I think it's really good that, that you're not photoshopping your pictures and you're not, doing the things for your face. And it's just, you're real.
I always tell people that there's a balance between happy and healthy. And that's what I'm going for, because I've had and I don't even know if I would call it healthy, because bodybuilding is such extreme dieting, but you have the perceived healthiness where you're ripped and shredded, but are they happy like that? And I want to be able to celebrate a birthday and eat cake when I want to. I mean, I'm not eating a whole cake. Everything's in moderation. So it's finding that healthy, happy balance. That's what I'm trying to teach people, is being happy with where you are. Can you get healthier? I don't know. Let's see. Let's be the healthiest you can be. Do you want to have more muscular legs? Okay, yeah, let's work towards that goal. Should you be critiquing yourself every day? No, definitely not. So finding that happy, healthy balance is really what I want people to take away from everything.
Now, do any of your clients, whether online or I don't know if you do any one-on-one, but are you coaching anybody towards the stage right now?
Honestly, no. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I will let them make that decision, and then I'll point them in the right direction. The only reason is because it is so much pressure on stage, and I don't want to be the reason why they didn't come in at their peak, and their peak was the next day.
Right.
So I don't want to take that pressure on myself. But if they are interested in it, I definitely have coaches that I recommend for stage prep.
Got it. Now, do you know your audience? Do you have your kind of demo, who really engages with you, who they are? Is it women, I would assume? Men as well?
Yeah, I think, growing up as an athlete, I talk about sports. So if I do have any engagement with the men, it's typically sports related. I do some workouts that are more HIIT workouts. I do some sports inspired workouts like football or hockey. But my demographic typically are women from, I want to say, early 20s to late 30s.
Okay.
And that's in-person clients, social media, everything across the board.
Oh, good. Yeah. I, you do a lot of home stuff. And was that because of the COVID thing, or was that how you've always kind of incorporated home stuff?
It was mostly because of the COVID thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the COVID thing, and because I was doing a lot of HIIT workouts, and people seem to want quick and fast. And I was trying to find the right balance of what could perform on social media that people could take away from it. Because a lot of people don't have access to a gym, or if they do, it's hard for them to look at something and remember that. So the HIIT workouts are more easy for them to follow along just on social media.
Right. So let's talk about the entrepreneurial person that you are with, you've got online, you do one-on-one coaching, and now you have a podcast, and you've called the podcast Built, which I love that name.
Thank you.
But you're not just talking about bodybuilding, you're talking about building your life, your career, your whatever. Talk a little bit about that reason you called it Built and what's that all about.
Yes, it's called Built with Katie Chung-Wah, and I did it because it was a spinoff of the fitness thing,
Right.
Built. And I met a lot of really cool people along my journey. And I just thought, I've heard their stories. Their stories have inspired me, or they're super interesting of how they got to where they are. And so I just wanted to share their stories, and I wanted people to learn from them and get inspired by them. So it's basically how athletes, entertainers, entrepreneurs have built who they are today. And there is a couple times that we talk about like physically, how they built themselves physically, and more business minded as well.
And without giving any of your secrets away, was it just kind of organically? It sounds like a lot was organically that you became where you are, but did you have a plan, and where's your plan going?
I think originally with hockey, I wanted to be the first woman everything. Dirt bike rider, hockey player, president, whatever you say. It was just, I think I'm naturally very competitive. And so I chose hockey, and I played on 5 different teams my first season, whether it be all women's adult, the girls travel team, a boys high school team, and then the rec team. I was constantly trying to be the best, and I wanted to be the best so that I could go really far. And my goal was to at least play college hockey. And so I think that's where it started. And then as I fell into the fitness industry through bodybuilding.com, again, my goal was to get my pro card. And so I did it up until I got my pro card. And then after that, I think that's when the transition of social media happened. And that's when I wanted to and I fell in love with educating people. So I thought, I'm going to capitalize on this. And then I realized how much I miss sports. And that's kind of where the podcast came in, because I was surrounded by some really cool NFL players, and I wanted to bridge that gap between fitness and sports, and I was trying to figure out how to do that. And so it was more chasing my passion and my competitive nature of wanting to be the best at what I was. And so with this podcast, I'm just trying to really just have fun and let people enjoy it and be the best version of me, and just giving people good information.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, it's just a combination of passion and competitiveness.
Yeah. It's and that sounds like an organic journey. You weren't really premeditated, and which I think is that authenticity is something that's gonna hold. It's real, because it is not fake. So that's really exciting. So one of the things I saw on your Instagram was your app.
Yes.
And I have it here for the audience that's watching on YouTube.
Perfect.
And maybe we can have you give us a little tour.
Yes. So this is really cool, by the way. So this is my app, ex-hockey player. I always like to keep hockey in the mix because
I think
that's
it's
who
important.
I am.
Yeah.
I love it. It makes me different. So this just basically tells you a little bit about me and what the requirements are. So the cool thing about this app is I can constantly add new workout programs. So I can film one tonight and I can upload it if I want to. And right now up here, you have the workout. So Hit It at Home. I love HIIT workouts for multiple reasons. You can do them anywhere. You don't need equipment. People can't give me excuses for doing them.
Yeah.
They can build muscle plus help burn fat, and they can help raise your metabolic rate. So it's, for me, a win-win, especially for people who are really trying to start off. So I have the Hit It at Home program. It's a 6-week program, and as you can see, you can just scroll through, and if you click, let's say day 1, this has basically what it's about, tells you your heart rate, what it should be at. If you start now, you have your warm-up, your workout, and your abs. You click warm-up, and then you have all the videos here, and it just demonstrates the videos. So I don't know if we can do one. There you go. Look, there's me. So that just shows you what it is. And then I also have a segment where it's abs, different ab workouts, and then legs at home. So it's good right now just because because of COVID, a lot of people are working out at home.
Right.
I'm coming out with a whole weightlifting program now that people have more access to the gym.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then...
Oh, yes, sorry. There's a nutrition guide. That's probably the most important part. Yeah. So in here, nutrition guide, this is something that I used to have another app, and I switched to this one because of the access that everyone can have to this. So nutrition guide, it has your tips and tactics. So I filled all of this out. This is just stuff that I tell my own one-on-one clients, tips that help. There's so much information and it can be really overwhelming. So I tried to condense it for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's what this whole...
I always tell people I'm your quick fix.
Yeah, right.
And it's going to take a long time.
Yes. So this whole thing is just filled with kind of like I said, rules to follow. Like if you're sitting here, I'm like, hey, these are the rules that you need to follow. I'm not going to overwhelm you because I don't want you to quit. But this is a lifestyle and you are the way you are because of the way you live. And I think people, when they start to train, they don't realize it's not just a come in for an hour and leave. It's not just go work out once and leave. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to teach people is slowly, because baby steps. We know when we dive in head first, it's not always the best results because people always rebound. So we need this like slow transition here. So this is just what it is. Mindset. Try to break it down by reps, educating people a little bit here, and grocery list, which is probably really important for people.
Just a little bit.
Yes. So protein, carbs, veggies, fruits, fats, and spices that you can use if you'd like. And then supplements that I recommend. But yeah, and here's just some, I put in calories if you want to calculate calories on here. I think people are really set on calories. I also follow macros. I'm a big macros person. But here are the portions and just a simple, I think I put in a meal. Yep, a couple breakfast recipes and my shakes. I love my shakes. And your lunch and snack and dinners. But
That's
yeah.
cool. So, nutrition. What is your primary thing? Because you did a lot of stuff there, meaning you didn't necessarily go, I'm vegan or I'm protein based or whatever. What's your philosophy? And then what do you, with the uniqueness of each client, what do you tell them? Like, what's your personal nutritional philosophy?
Personal for me, I found out that I was celiac probably 6-7 years ago. So I have to eat gluten-free, not by choice because I would love to have gluten. But no, I don't have gluten. I'm big on macros. I don't fast. I don't do keto. I'm really big on eating every 3 to 4 hours, probably about 4 meals a day, balanced carbs, protein, fat. It's worked for me. The way that my body works is I, for some reason, can have a lot more carbs. Like I said, everyone is different. I think it's just based on, one, how you're raised, two, your body type. And I think that whatever works for you, I'm not going to knock you for it.
Right.
I always like to tell people to base it on science. So if you hear a fad diet, look and see how it scientifically works to see if it actually works.
Right.
And if it's something that works for you, fine, go ahead. But I keep my clients on a similar diet that I am. I don't have them go longer than 4 hours without eating. I make sure they have a significant amount of protein that supports their body and carbs, healthy carbs, not sugar carbs.
Right.
And healthy fats.
Yes.
And it's been very successful for them and for me.
Okay, good. I'm primarily animal based, low carb because I'm carbohydrate adverse. I look at a carb and I put on fat. It's ridiculous, but
So you and I are different. There
yes,
you go.
Yes, and you got to keep each person as they are, each person as they come. So the other thing you had on there, which it didn't, you had the stuff about reps and stuff, but the words mindset, and what does that mean to you, and how do you teach that to your clients?
When it comes to reps, I always tell them when it starts to get hard, push out 5 more because that's when your body's going to change. And so it's teaching them that pain isn't necessarily bad. It's kind of that threshold of where you're going to change. So it can't just be easy, and it's not always going to be easy. And I think that translates over to real life is uncomfortable causes change.
Do hard shit.
Yes.
True. So when you take your mindset out into the world, and we talked a little bit about your journey and where you're headed, where are you going with this whole brand, and what's next?
I really want to do more video content creation and more around sports and inspiration. So right now, my major passion project is my podcast, and hoping that that opens more doors for me in that world of video creation. I would love to do more behind the scenes with the NFL guys that I get to interview. I would love to show people more of their day-to-day lives and also work out with them and show people how that is. I've had so many, I mean, there's a lot of projects that don't work out, right? And I think people just see the ones that do. And so I started one in 2019 called Your Girlfriend's Sports Show. And it was so fun. But for some reason, I was really embarrassed to really promote it. So I didn't get a lot of views because I didn't like to post it because I was just nervous that I would be judged. And
I love that idea.
yes, and I had so much fun with it. And so that might make an appearance again, but that's kind of where I would like to go, is doing more on camera, more video, more podcasts, more educational with sports, with fitness, and fun.
And with athletes. And
Yes.
now you have the Raiders here
Yes.
and the Golden Knights.
Yes.
You a Golden Knights fan?
I am. So
Because you live here.
yes, because I live here, but it's really hard for me because I have my favorite players.
Got it.
And so I'm fans of players. Even with football, I'm fans of players. I don't really have a team. And so it's kind of like that. Yes, I love the Knights because they're in Vegas, but I love Alexander Ovechkin. So when they had the playoffs with the Caps and the Knights, I was really torn because Ovi hasn't gotten a cup yet. So
Right.
I was happy to see them win, and probably everyone hates me for saying that. But, you know, I have my teams, and Ovechkin's my favorite guy.
Yeah, it's good to get the older guys a chip, at least
Yes.
one, I'm with you with that. I'm a Raider fan, originally a Ram fan, Kings fan, Dodger fan, so because I'm from LA.
Yep.
But so players, not so much the team. Now, I just started this podcast. This is our 12th show. And are you finding it easy or difficult to get those guys to commit and then show up on time?
Oh my gosh, I have had the hardest time booking athletes. No fault of their own. I mean,
No.
maybe it is their fault, but
I mean, they're busy, but
they're busy, but not that busy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they're busy. I think the way that I've been able to get most of the guests have been through personal contacts. And then I'll message some, hit or miss. And so I'm just hoping one day they open up that box, their DMs, and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, I'll join the show. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. But it's definitely been through personal contacts so far that I've been able to get the guests. But you know how hard it is to get guests on the show. And then commitment. I've been stood up multiple times.
Yeah.
Had the camera guy. We just hung out.
Yeah.
Because the guest just never showed up.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I bet Joe Rogan doesn't get no shows,
Yeah.
right? When you get to that next level, it's like your phone is ringing.
Yes.
Can I get my client on your show? Which I think will come pretty quick for you. You're getting some good names.
Yeah.
So when you talked about that show, my head just started going, and I saw it as a broadcast TV show or even segment on another show. Is that kind of would be ideal?
Oh, that would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
I interviewed Linda Cohn, and she was the first female ESPN reporter, and I think she's the longest standing ESPN reporter.
She's a goddess in that world.
Yes.
100%.
And when so I just slid into her Twitter DMs, like blind shot, and she was like, yes, I'd love to. Like, the first thing I did was run downstairs and tell my boyfriend that I couldn't believe this actually happened.
She said yes.
Yeah. So, and she has been such an inspiration to me. And I think that the biggest takeaway from her was, I don't know if it's a millennial thing where everyone just thinks right off the gates, like people should hand you things. But she worked for free and drove hours to report, I think it was the Rangers, because she's an Islander fan. And just so she could do a segment, and they either paid her nothing or close to nothing. And she drove out of her way, and she worked her way up. And so, podcasting is hard. You don't get a lot of money out of it. The people that are making money is Joe Rogan.
Right.
And so it's been frustrating, but I keep that in the back of my mind that it's going to take work. And she's an inspiration, and she's awesome, and she's made it, and we all got to put in our time.
Yeah, that's so cool that she said yes, and I will thank you for saying yes, because you're next level where I want to get eventually. And I think it's really important to all you podcasters and athletes out there and that have followings, and you know, when one of us asks you if you can make the time, it's not necessarily paying it forward or paying it back, but it's just like lifting someone up by giving them a little bit of your time.
Yes. And I think that you never know, and not that you should ever do anything to get something out of it, but you never know where something could lead you.
Yes.
And I think my biggest fault, which I'll be the first to admit it, is I was in the fitness industry very, very early. And so when social media was starting to come out and people were asking if I wanted to collaborate or do things with them, I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I already made it. Those people surpassed me because they worked for it. And I, for some reason, was thinking that I had made it and I didn't need to learn anything and I didn't need to do anything and I didn't need to collaborate with people. And that held me back. And that really, really, I guess, crippled me in a way. And so that's probably my biggest takeaway in my early 20s is, which probably everyone in teenage, early 20s thinks they know everything. But if they're listening, you don't. And you can learn so much from anybody. I mean, one of my most popular podcasts that I've got the best feedback on wasn't someone that was famous. And you never know, like, what you can learn from somebody.
Right. Wow. That's interesting. So when you started your podcast, did you have that specific idea of kind of how people are building brands, or did it morph into that? Like,
well, COVID kind of changed things originally, and what my show will get to was a 2-part segment. And let's take Marquise. He was my first guest on my show. Played at USC, Blitnikoff winner. I think some people from LA know who he is. And what I wanted to do was 2-part segment, going over, you could meet him and his family, going and working out with him making me look like a fool because obviously I can't run as fast, I can't jump as high.
right.
You know, having that interaction where you really see who he is and then being able to talk about his story. And he was the one that really inspired me to start the podcast because he has such a great story. And so the more that we open up and the world opens up and the show gets bigger, it's more interactive stuff. Like Fee was going to show me how to dance from the Jabberwockies and then do his show. So we'll probably do another one with him. But being able to be more interactive so people can really see what these guests are about.
Yeah. That's kind of what I want to do with this show. But it's hard getting people twice.
Yes. I know, because that's what I told you. I was like, hey, I can do the interview, but it's going to be a couple weeks till I can do the other part.
Right. I'm like, let's just do it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, you said you're a content creator, and there's so much of this going on, and there's so much of the other thing with just exercises. It's nice to kind of mash them up and have like these 2 different perspectives. And I mean, I'll watch. I subscribe to your channel, so I'm gonna watch. Yeah, subscribe to her channel, people. So you are in Vegas now. We were talking about the weather. Have you been to a Golden Knights game yet?
I actually went to my first one. That's so sad. But it was probably 2 games before the playoffs started. It was a Phoenix game. It was here, though.
I heard it's amazing. I haven't been to one yet. I heard it's like next level entertainment in the stadium.
Right. Well, it makes sense. It's in Vegas, entertainment capital of the world.
Right.
And they just have this elaborate intro, which is awesome.
Right.
But I had a lot of fun. I went with an old hockey teammate of mine. So having her there makes it better because then we're really talking about the game. So it was really fun.
Yeah, I gotta go now. It's now they're in the playoffs, but
tickets are crazy expensive because it's in such high demand.
Right.
Just everyone loves the Knights, and our fans are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
I've got a client that's got season tickets.
there you go.
And
That's your answer.
yeah. He's going tonight, of course, not me.
Man. Oh.
So now that we're back on hockey and the fact that you did play some with guys as well, what do you feel about girls in traditional guy sports, and do you think it's fair for them, or do you think it's smart or stupid? Do you like it? Did you compete on their level?
Well, I think that my situation's a little different because I was a goaltender. And in hockey, I think that is one of the only positions that I think is going to be the most fair, because you're not physical in the game unless they're in your crease. But you're stopping pucks and you're a huge part of the gameplay, but you're not actually on the ice where that physicality comes in, where you're getting hit. And I think that's where they keep that separate with males and females, because in female, you don't really even hit at all. So I don't even see a lot of girls fight. I don't think I've had like one fight in my whole life. But the guys, they just had the first female get drafted to a junior team in Canada like 2 weeks ago. And she was a goaltender. So I think where it comes to that, it's a little bit different. A goaltender, so when I played with the boys, they were nothing but supportive, because if I was good, then that's fine. It's different if I was bad.
Yeah.
But I had, especially when I first started, I had guys giving me old gear, giving me helmets, teaching me things. They were nothing but supportive. So my personal experience has been nothing but great. I think that skating out would have been a little bit more difficult. I have skated out before with a couple guys' teams, but nothing super competitive.
When you say skated out, I'm not.
Oh,
familiar.
I'm sorry. I didn't play goalie, so I would play. I'd play the other positions. Yeah, I played a co-ed team here. It was fine. I haven't felt any sort of judgment or anything. I think that as long as the physical part of the game is the only thing that I would see being a concern, because I have played with guys where I've gotten checked, and that's part of the game, and I have to be okay with that.
Right.
So if you're going to be a girl and you're playing out there and you're getting physical, you have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And if you can hold your own, like, there's no problem with that.
Right.
So, but goaltending, I think that's a little different for me, so I can't really speak on the other aspects of it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even realize you were a goaltender. And that's kind of, I was listening to ESPN or something recently, and they were talking about the Canadians and our team. And the Canadians goalie is supposed to be really good and hot. Our goalie's a legend as well, but the reason that their record is like half of what the games won that the Golden Knights have, but the goalie is really hot right now. So the goalie is really the key to winning in hockey.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the quarterback of the football team.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When being in Vegas, the second that the Knights drafted Fleury, I put them to win the conference. I put money on them to win the conference.
When they went all the way?
When they went all the way. Because I knew them drafting an experienced, good goaltender was going to lead them to success. Because having the goaltender, that's everything. I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't shoot as much as the other team or get as many shots on net. If you have a goaltender, they can't score. It doesn't matter. So you'll go 0-0. But yeah, goaltending's huge.
Right. So like, yeah, you're saying if you're good and you're stopping the puck.
Yeah.
Let's pick her.
Yeah, there was a girl that I used to skate with at a camp every year, and she was phenomenal. And she was big. She was like 5'10" as a girl goaltender.
Tiny.
I know, I'm small.
Little
I was
girl.
fast.
Okay.
I was quick. No, I'm kidding. I picked goaltending because one, my dad and my brother played, and I think that they were just trying to find someone to shoot on. But I did it because my dad kind of knew how I worked and said, you'll get more opportunity if you're a goaltender, because there's not, I mean, I think there was like 2 in the whole city of Boise growing up.
Right.
And he was right. I got calls to skate every day. So I was able to be on the ice multiple times a day.
Right. They say that about, I think, catchers in baseball.
Probably.
If you play catcher, play catcher. Very interesting. So you love sports. That's very cool. Hockey, obviously. What other sports or football? It sounds like
Football, yeah.
Any other sports?
I'm trying to think of. You know what? I love watching women's gymnastics for the Olympics. I think it's phenomenal what they can do.
Impressive.
Simone Biles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love watching women's gymnastics. I'm trying to think of what other sports. I don't understand basketball. I mean, I understand it, but when I watch it, I don't get much out of it.
Yeah. Playoffs are going on.
I know. I only know that because my boyfriend watches basketball. Like, I wouldn't be watching it any other time.
Right.
But mostly it's just hockey and football.
Yeah.
I think that I also follow people's stories. You know, I'm big on inspirational stories. So I'll know people here and there, but even the football players that I know, it's inspirational stories. Like I like Josh Jacobs from the Raiders and Darren Waller because I think they both have such inspirational stories.
Yeah, big time. Have you gotten in touch with
No,
Darren?
I'm trying to get Darren. I DM'd him on Instagram. Yeah, right. He won't see it, but I'm still just waiting. Josh Jacobs, I think that I first saw him on that commercial. Did you see the commercial of the kid running?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it's great. It's just a kid running on the street and it's his voiceover talking about how far he's going to go.
Oh, yeah, I think I did see that.
Yeah.
Because he was homeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, living in his car.
Yeah.
At Alabama at one point, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But yeah.
When he was 18 or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. My partner, my business partner, John, he might be here when we come out there, but he's got a really good connections with some Raiders and a lot of athleets.
So we need to be John's friend.
Yeah, we need to connect you. And I think Marcus is coming in town, if not this month, next month for some charity baseball game or something. Do you know who Marcus Allen is? He's
I don't.
older. He's a old-time Raider, Hall of Famer, running back, and really cool guy. You would really connect with him. He's a really nice guy. But he's one of those guys. It's like, Marcus, can you come at this time? Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call out. I literally, T.O. said he would be on my show.
Okay.
And every time we get to scheduling a time, he goes silent.
Ghost.
So, and it's been like 3 times. I'm like, I got to stop asking him. I got to stop hitting him up. So
Yeah, John knows T.O. too.
I'm really trying. So if anyone knows him, tell him I'm coming for him. I'm just kidding. No, he needs to just get back to me. I think those guys are so busy. Like you said, it's so crazy. So it's hard.
But, trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
Do your Vegas thing.
I know. I need to be better at kind of following along when people are going to be in town because then you hit them up when they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a lot of energy to be on and it's like connected to this thing. It's tough. It's tough. Well, this was really great. Thank you again so much for your time. And I know how valuable that is. And do you have anything else that's going on with you? How do people find you?
No, I will just my name, Katie Chung-Hwa, across the board. I don't think there's another one out there. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse. I love the Clubhouse chats. I don't know if you're a part of Clubhouse. I feel like you'd love it. But
I'm not, but I got an invitation. I just didn't take it. Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
But thank you so much for having me on this show. I think you're awesome and your show is great.
Thank you. Well, maybe down the road we'll get the in-gym part.
Yes. Yes.
We'll have to get the stars to align.
Yes. We'll plan it far in advance. We'll have time to do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for watching or listening, and like, share, and until next time, Fit Fam, I'm out.